The 1010XL TaxSlayer.com Gator Bowl preview, brought to you by VRC, innovators in clinical research.
Pretty cool, isn't it? Our 1010XL 92.5 FM broadcast bus. Hi, everybody. I'm Frank Frangi from 1010XL and 92.5 FM Sports Radio, the second of our Gator Bowl previews here on CW17. Now, we've talked all about the history of this terrific game. What about the game itself? Georgia and Nebraska played a 45-31 game in a bowl a year ago, and both are excited about the rematch here in Jacksonville. But both of these proud programs have had interesting seasons.
The Nebraska season began with high hopes for Bo Pelini and his team, with aspirations of a BCS bowl berth, and the Cornhuskers responded early, winning 5 of their first 6 games. It was then that it became apparent that the team had a special talent in running back Amir Abdullah, who went on to rush for 1,568 yards, averaging more than 6 yards per carry. The junior from Homewood, Alabama's breakout season included a breakout game, 225 yards on 20 carries, in a 39-19 victory over Illinois. But it was obvious the Huskers would suffer from the loss of 4-year starting quarterback Taylor Martinez to a foot problem that put the offense in the hands of senior Ron Kellogg III and freshman Tommy Armstrong Jr. Without Martinez, Nebraska lost 3 of its last 4 games, including a 41-28 loss to eventual Big Ten champion Michigan State and a shocking season-ending 38-17 home loss to Iowa. The Huskers ended the season losing 2 of their last 3. Season highlights, however, included the emergence of the electrifying Abdullah, the play of quarterback Armstrong, and a thrilling last-second win over Northwestern on a Hail Mary pass from Kellogg to receiver Jordan Westerkamp. The result was an 8-4 team with a rematch with the Georgia Bulldogs. Georgia and Coach Mark Richt, meanwhile, started with equally high hope because it had a brilliant combination of quarterback Aaron Murray, a strong-arm senior who would become a record-breaking machine in his final season, and running back Todd Gurley, the spectacular sophomore who some believe to be the best running back in the nation heading into the year. Murray obliged by throwing for more than 3,000 yards and 26 touchdowns before injuring his knee in the final game of the season against Georgia Tech. Gurley wasn't so fortunate, missing a number of games to injury early in the year and finishing with a still respectable 903 yards. But felled with those injuries and many more, the Dogs hit hard times, being upset by then-underdog Missouri, 41-26 at home, and even by Vanderbilt, 31-27 on the road. But the Dogs rallied behind backup quarterback Hudson Mason to defeat Georgia Tech in an all-important rivalry game to end the season. That made for an 8-4 year and a Gator Bowl rematch with the Nebraska Cornhuskers.
They certainly have been interesting seasons for both Georgia and Nebraska. And I can tell you this, our staff at 1010XL and 92.5 FM knows an awful lot about college football. How will this thing match up and how do we break it down? I'll throw it to a roundtable in our studio, hosted by Jeff Prosser. Jeff?
Thank you very much, Frank. Joined here at 1010XL by David Lamm and Mike Dempsey. And guys, let's talk a little bit about this year's game. An odd scenario right off the bat. Mike, you don't often see rematches in bowl games back-to-back years, but Nebraska and Georgia should be familiar with each other. They played just last year here in the state of Florida.
They are. They might not be familiar with the quarterback, so obviously both starting quarterbacks with Taylor Martinez and Aaron Murray out of this game. So it's going to be interesting to see what's different. You've got 2 outstanding running backs, but yeah, playing back-to-back, hopefully there'll be some hard feelings out there.
But I really think this is about as good as it's going to get for the Gator Bowl. You've got 2 really big-time established programs. So, what is the Gator Bowl trying to do? They're trying to draw people into Jacksonville to spend money, and they're trying to get a television audience. Well, people will tune in for Nebraska and Georgia. It doesn't matter how good they are. They will tune in because they've got the name. And I think that's really what the Gator Bowl and bowls of that ilk, that's their number one goal, is to get 2 schools people recognize. They were both 8-4, so they're good football teams, but not great ones. I think it should be fun.
I think it's interesting from the Georgia perspective, from this standpoint. Jacksonville's so identifiable with Georgia football. Yeah, because of the Florida game, depending on what year. But yeah, they come in, really, Georgia, the staff, the players, you know what they see? They see the hotel, they see the bridge, they see the stadium, and they see the air, and then they're back. So to be able to soak up the atmosphere. And the second thing is people say, well, why do you bring Georgia? They already get an opportunity here in Jacksonville. So many local Georgia fans never go to a Florida-Georgia game. Right. It's a hard ticket to get. This gives, the local Georgia fans a chance to see the Dogs as well.
Yeah, no doubt about it. They should feel a lot more at home here than you would think with Nebraska. I think their fans will obviously travel better. They don't have very far to go. And honestly, I think, they're, an 8-point favorite in this football game. I think Georgia fans probably going to be happy with the outcome as well. You just look at the competition that both of these teams have played, with Nebraska ending with a blowout loss at home to Iowa. Georgia really losing that close game to Auburn, guys. It's the only thing that stood between them and a 5-game winning streak to end the year.
Yeah, and is any conference pride at stake here, Dave? I think the Big 12 has been the closest pursuer to the SEC in their run of dominance. I guess now with Big 10 for Nebraska, but Big 10, Big 12, SEC, Pac-10. Anytime these conferences hook up, is there a rivalry that's inside of there?
I think absolutely, because we've talked so much about it. I think anybody who plays an SEC team comes in with a chip on its shoulder. We want to show the mighty SEC that the Big 12 can play with them, or the Big 10. The SEC has been so dominant that I think when you get a chance to play them, that's that little extra motivation. And anytime you knock off an SEC team, you go back to your own territory, with a lot of pride, that chest all swelled up. So yeah, I think that's a boost for Nebraska.
I think you look at just the comparison between the running backs, that tells the story. We think Ty Gurley's the greatest thing around here since sliced bread, and he may be the best running back in the country when he's healthy, but Amir Abdullah was an 1,800-yard guy for Nebraska this year combined. Good receiver out of the backfield, had 10 100-yard games. Worst game was 85 yards. So, they've got talent, and they probably feel like it's not recognized like it is in the SEC.
One of the real advantages of being a bowl team is you get that extra practice, and it really falls into play now in Athens, Dave, because Hudson Mason gets some time to run the first-team offense. Aaron Murray goes down late. It's a shame he doesn't get to end his career. But for Georgia moving forward to next year, we had Mark Richt on the radio recently, and, he all but said, without giving the job to Mason, it's his. And, this is a chance for him to add 4 weeks of practice under his belt before they even get into spring.
Well, it's one reason that we've expanded now to, 35 bowls? The coaches want it, because it is literally, like you said, it's an extra spring practice, as it were. And I think we'd be amazed that if we went out to some of the practices, a lot of these teams, you would notice a lot of the seniors on the sideline during practice, they're working the underclassmen and the guys they know that will be coming back. So a lot of schools will put next year ahead of this game coming up, and that's okay. That's the big advantage from the coach's standpoint.
Who do you like in the game?
I like Georgia. I just think you look at the competition they played, and really all their losses this year, they were in every game. Every game they were in. Nebraska, some of the losses, they really don't have a signature victory. They played Michigan State tough, but that's the best they can put out there. I think a close loss, and the way they ended the season against Iowa, I think it's hard to pick anybody but Georgia.
Dave, SEC come through in this game?
Yeah, I think so. I know Georgia pretty well. I don't really know Nebraska that well because, like you said, they never got up to where they were getting a lot of national attention. It wasn't compelling to watch Nebraska on TV, back in September and October. So until they got named to the Gator Bowl, I really hadn't looked that closely at them. But I do think Georgia's a better football team. And, yeah, I know the rest of the country's tired of hearing about it. But the SEC is the best conference, and if you're an 8-game winner in the SEC and you've played a lot of close games in your losses, you got to think that they're better than a middle-of-the-road Pac-12 team.
Well, and as Mike alluded to, good move by the Gator Bowl moving forward to align itself with the SEC, and we'll get to see the Dogs up close and personal this year. Right now, we'll send it back to Frank Frangie.
Jeff, thank you. What a season it's been for those two teams. Now, let's take a break. When we come back, though, Chad Scott had a chance to catch up with Bo Pelini, Mark Richt, and all the principals. That's next when we continue, so stay with us.